Have you ever stopped for a moment, looked at your savings, and quietly wondered, is this actually enough to retire someday? If yes, then you're not alone, because the typical person retires with far less money than you might expect. And today I'm going to show you exactly how much, why it happens, and what you can do differently starting right now. Hey friends, welcome back! If you're new here, I'm glad you're joining me today because this might be one of the most important financial videos you'll ever watch. No charts, no complicated trading strategies, just real talk about retirement, money, and how to prepare for a future that doesn't stress you out. Now, here's what's surprising. Most people assume retirement requires millions of dollars. They imagine this big number, they get overwhelmed, and then they stop planning altogether. But the reality is very different and honestly a little shocking. When you see how much the average person actually retires with, it will completely change the way you think about money, investing, and your own financial journey. And this video isn't meant to scare you or depress you, not at all. In fact, my goal today is the opposite. I want to give you clarity, I want to give you confidence, and I want to show you how you can avoid the mistakes that keep most people financially stuck even after decades of hard work. Because here's the truth, retirement isn't about luck. It's not about being born rich, having a high-paying job, or anything fancy like that. Retirement, financial freedom, peace of mind, they're all the result of simple habits, simple choices, and simple strategies that anyone can learn. Yes, even if you're starting late, even if you feel behind, even if you think it's too late for you. In this full video, I'm going to break everything down step by step in a simple, beginner-friendly way. First, we'll talk about the real numbers, what the typical person retires with, and why it's so low. Then we'll explore the core problem, the hidden habits that quietly drain people's wealth over 30-40 years of working. After that, I'll teach you the simple framework that financially confident people use to retire comfortably. And we'll walk through a practical example with real numbers so you can actually see how it all works. Then I'll share some powerful takeaways you can apply immediately, even if you're starting from scratch today. So if you've ever felt confused about retirement, if you feel behind, or if you just want to understand how real people build wealth step by step without complicated strategies, then stay with me. This video is made exactly for you. And before we dive in, I want to make this clear. I'm not here to judge anyone's financial situation. We're all on different journeys. What matters is not where you are right now. What matters is whether you're willing to take control of where you're going. By the end of this video, you'll know what the typical person retires with, why it happens, and how you can avoid that fate with simple, practical actions you can start today. All right, let's jump right into it. Let's get real for a moment. Most people spend 30 to 40 years working, waking up early, dealing with stress, handling responsibilities, grinding day after day. Yet when they finally reach retirement age, they look at their savings and feel one thing: this can't be enough. And that's the painful truth. The typical person retires with far less than they expected, not because they're lazy or irresponsible, but because the entire system is built in a way that makes saving and investing feel confusing, overwhelming, or simply out of reach. Think about it. No one teaches you how money actually works. You learn math in school, but not personal finance. You learn history, but not investing. You learn literature, but not how compound interest can literally decide your future lifestyle. So most beginners enter adulthood without the financial tools they need. They're left guessing, hoping, wishing instead of planning. And this lack of understanding leads to some very common and very costly mistakes. For example, many people believe they'll start saving later when they earn more money. But later becomes someday, someday becomes next year, and next year becomes never. By the time they realize it, they've lost 10, 20, sometimes even 30 years of potential growth. And remember, money grows faster with time than with effort. Losing those years is losing the most valuable ingredient of wealth. Another big problem, lifestyle creep. As income increases, expenses quietly follow. The nicer phone, the slightly bigger house, the extra restaurant meals, none of these things look dangerous on the surface. After all, everyone is doing it, right? But over 20 or 30 years, lifestyle creep eats away at thousands of dollars that could have been invested and multiplied many times over. Then there's the emotional side. Many beginners are afraid of investing because they think it's only for experts or they fear losing money. So they keep their savings in cash, where inflation slowly erodes its value like a silent tax. Without realizing it, they are losing purchasing power every single year. But here's the biggest pain point of all: people don't know how much they actually need to retire comfortably. Some think they need millions. Others don't think about it at all. So they either feel overwhelmed or they live in denial. And both paths lead to the same result: poor planning, low saving, and a stressful retirement. Let me put it like this: imagine you're driving a car with no destination, no map, no idea where you're going. You're just moving. That's how most people treat their financial life. They work hard for decades, but without direction. They save a little, but without a plan. They invest occasionally, but without a strategy. And eventually, they end up somewhere they didn't want to be. The saddest part: most of this is avoidable. The average person is not financially behind because of income. They're behind because of information, because of bad habits, because of not starting early enough, because no one showed them a simple, clear, step-by-step path. And that's exactly why this video matters. Because the moment you understand the problem, you can fix it. The moment you understand why most people fail, you can avoid it. And the moment you see where the typical person ends up, you'll realize that you have the power to choose a completely different future. In the next section, we're going to break down the actual numbers. What the typical person retires with, why it's so low, and the simple framework you can use to make sure your retirement doesn't follow that same path. Alright, now let's break this down step by step in a simple, beginner-friendly way. Because once you understand why the typical person retires with so little, the whole picture becomes much clearer. And you'll immediately see what you need to do differently. Let's start with the real number. Most people retire with far less than they need, and the typical retirement savings amount is shockingly low. But the exact number isn't the main point. The main point is why it happens. And it comes down to a simple, powerful idea. Wealth is built through habits, not income. You can earn a lot and still retire broke. You can earn modestly and still retire wealthy. The difference is the system you use. So let me walk you through the 3-step retirement framework that explains everything about why people fail and how you can succeed. Step 1, the 3 buckets of money. Everyone has 3 buckets, whether they know it or not. Bucket frequency. Spending, this is your daily life. Food, bills, transport, rent, fun. This bucket will always exist. You can't get rid of it. But most people make the mistake of letting this bucket grow too big too fast. When your spending grows as fast as your income, you never get ahead. Bucket paid to saving, this is your cash, your safety net. Emergency funds, short-term goals, cash buffers. Savings protect you, but they do not grow your wealth. Most people rely entirely on this bucket, thinking saving is enough. But savings alone cannot beat inflation. Cash keeps you safe, but it doesn't make you rich. Bucket 3, investing. This is where real retirement wealth comes from. This bucket grows with time through compound interest, meaning your money earns money, and then that money earns more money, and the cycle repeats. The problem is most people barely put anything in this bucket until it's too late. And that brings us to the second step, step 2, the time factor, the silent force. Here's something schools never teach. Time is more powerful than income when it comes to building wealth. Let me show you how simple this is. If you invest $100 a month for 35 years, you'll retire with more than someone who invests $500 a month for only the last 10 years. Not because you invested more money, but because you invested earlier. Time multiplies money. Starting late destroys potential wealth. This is the number. One reason the typical person retires with so little. They start too late. They wait for the right moment. They wait for higher income. They wait until they feel ready. And by the time they start, it's already too late for compound interest to work its magic. Step 3, the gap strategy. Wealth is built by strengthening one simple thing. The gap between what you earn and what you spend. A bigger gap to more to invest, a smaller gap less to invest, no gap, no future wealth. Most people live at zero gap. Whatever they earn, they spend. But financially successful people consciously create a gap, even a small one, and push it into their investment bucket consistently, month after month, year after year. You don't need to invest aggressively. You don't need fancy strategies. You don't need the perfect timing. You just need a controlled spending bucket, a healthy savings bucket, and a growing investment bucket. That's it. This simple framework is what separates typical retirees from comfortable retirees. And in the next section, I'm going to show you a practical example with real numbers so you can see exactly how this plays out in real life and what happens when you start late versus starting early. Now let's bring everything to life with a practical, real world example. Because once you see the numbers play out, you'll immediately understand why the typical person retires with so little and how a small shift in habits can completely change your financial future. Let's imagine two people. Person A, Sarah, starts investing early. Person B, and David, starts late. Both are earning similar incomes. Both want to retire comfortably, but the timing of their actions will determine their destiny. Scenario setup: both invest in a simple broad market index fund. Average growth about 8% per year is a common long-term market average. Both invest $150 per month. That's it. No complicated strategies, no timing the market. Case 1. Sarah starts at age 25. Sarah begins investing $150 per month at age 25. At first, she doesn't see a huge difference. Her account grows slowly after 1 year. Barely noticeable after 5 years. That's nice. After 10 years, wow, it's actually growing. But the real power shows up much later. Here's what happens if Sarah simply stays consistent. By age 35, 10 years, her account is worth around $28,000. Still modest, but something is happening under the surface. By age 45, 20 years, her account jumps to about $75,000. Now the compounding is clearly accelerating. By age 55, 30 years, she's sitting at around $188,000. By age 60, 35 years, her total becomes approximately $310,000. And remember, she only invested $150 a month. Case 28, David starts at age 40. David, like many people, delayed investing. He said what everyone says: I'll start later. I don't earn enough yet. I'll begin when things settle down. But later arrives quickly. He finally starts investing at age 40, 15 years later than Sarah. And what happens? By age 50, 10 years, his account is around $27,000, nearly the same as Sarah's at age 35. By age 60, 20 years, he ends with around $75,000. Let that sink in. Sarah at 60 new 3 years in 2000, David at 60K, you $75,000, both invested the same monthly amount. Both invested in the same type of fund. Both earned the same average return. The only difference, when they started. Sarah started early. David started late. That alone made her end up with 4 times more money. The typical retirement problem, here's where most people fall into the trap. They behave like David, but often worse. Many people start investing at 45 or 50, stop during market crashes, invest inconsistently, save too little, let lifestyle expenses expand, keep money in cash instead of investing. So even after decades of hard work, they retire with very little, often under $100,000, and that money has to last 20 or 30 years. This is why so many retirees struggle. It's not because they didn't work hard. It's because no one taught them what you're learning right now. The earlier you start investing, the easier retirement becomes. The message is simple. Even small investments, 50 or 100, 150 per month, grow massively when given time. Time is the multiplier. Consistency is the engine. Compound interest is the fuel. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to start and then not stop. In the next section, I'll share powerful key takeaways and tips that you can start applying today, even if you feel behind or you're starting from zero. Now that you've seen the practical example and how the numbers play out, I want to give you a set of clear, actionable takeaways, things you can start applying immediately, no matter your age, income, or financial situation. These are the exact habits that separate people who retire comfortably from those who retire stressed. Let's break them down one by one. Takeaway Eve Winnie. Start early. But if you can't, start now. You've seen the numbers. Time is the biggest factor in building wealth. But many people misunderstand this lesson. They think, I didn't start early, so it's too late for me. They're wrong. Yes, starting at 25 is better than starting at 40. But starting at 40 is still infinitely better than starting at 60. Starting at 60 is better than never starting. The best time to invest was years ago. The second best time is right now. The moment you start, your money begins working for you. The later you start, the more important consistency becomes. So your action point here is simple. Commit to starting now, even with a small amount. Takeaway A to Z, build a gap between earning and spending. Wealth doesn't come from income. It comes from the gap between your income and your expenses. A bigger gap, more money to invest. A smaller gap, less money to invest. No gap, no future wealth. The most people increase their expenses every time their income increases. New phone, new furniture, new car. Small upgrades that quietly kill their financial future. But financially disciplined people think differently. When income increases, they keep their lifestyle stable and let the gap grow. That growing gap becomes investment fuel. And investments become future freedom. Your action point here, choose one lifestyle upgrade to delay and redirect that amount into investing. Even $30, $50 a month adds up massively over decades. Takeaway point 3, invest consistently. Even when it feels small, many people believe investing only works if they invest big amounts. That's not true. The 50 dues a month invested consistently beats 500 invested once in a while. The habit matters more than the amount. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates results. And remember this, your first few years of investing will feel slow. That's normal. Compound interest is like a snowball. It starts tiny, then grows exponentially. Your job is to keep rolling it. Whether the market goes up or down, whether it feels exciting or boring, whether the growth looks small or big, just keep going. Your action point, set up an automatic monthly investment, even if it's small. Automation removes emotion. Emotion is what makes people delay. Takeaway, plentifully protect your savings. Grow your investments. Savings and investing are different tools. Savings, safety, investing. For growth, you need both. Many people confuse them and keep too much money in cash. Cash loses value every year due to inflation. Investments grow stronger the longer they're left alone. So here's the formula you want to follow: 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings. Everything else slowly moves into investments. Your action point. Set your emergency fund target and stop saving beyond that amount. Redirect the extra into your investment bucket. Takeaway and FEV, know your number. Most people never plan for retirement because they simply don't know how much they need. And when you don't know the target, you don't know how to aim. You don't know how much to save. You don't know how much to invest. You're just guessing. But once you have a number, your retirement target, everything becomes clearer. Your action point, choose a simple targetee. For me to retire comfortably, I want at least X amount saved. The number doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to exist. Because once you know what you're aiming for, the path becomes obvious. Alright, if you've made it to this point, then honestly, you're already doing something that most people never do. You're taking the time to understand money, to get educated, and to build a future that's not based on guesswork or hope, but on real strategy and real numbers. So before you click away, I want to leave you with a powerful message. Retirement isn't about luck. It's not about being gifted. It's not about earning a huge income. It's about habits. Small habits, simple habits, consistent habits. And you've just learned the exact habits that separate the typical retiree from the comfortable retiree, the stressed retiree from the confident retiree. If you apply even one of the lessons from today's video, just one, you'll already be ahead of most people. Whether it's starting early, closing that gap between earning and spending, automating your investments, or simply setting a retirement target, these steps will completely reshape your financial future. But here's the thing Knowledge only helps you if you take action. Watching videos won't grow your money. Hoping won't build your retirement. Waiting won't make it easier. You have to start. And you have to stay consistent. So if this video helped you, if it gave you clarity, if it made you think, or if it motivated you to take that next step, then make sure you hit that like button so this video gets in front of more people who need this message. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I've got more deep dive videos coming that will help you build wealth the simple, stress-free way, just like we did here today. Now, I also want to hear from you. So head down to the comments and tell me, at what age did you start investing, or when do you plan to start? There's no judgment, there's no right answer. We're here to learn together. Your comment might even help someone else feel less alone or get motivated to begin. And remember this, it doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter how much you've saved so far. It doesn't matter if you feel behind. What matters is the direction you start moving in today. Wealth doesn't grow in big leaps. It grows quietly, slowly, and consistently through small actions that compound over time. So take a moment today, even if it's right after this video, and make one decision that your future self will thank you for. Maybe it's opening an investment account. Maybe it's automating a small monthly amount. Maybe it's cutting one unnecessary expense. Whatever it is, it's progress. And progress compounds. Your retirement future isn't written yet. You have the pen, and after today, you also have the blueprint. So thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for investing in yourself. And thank you for taking ownership of your financial journey. This is your moment. This is your turning point. And I can promise you this, if you stay consistent, if you stay disciplined, and if you stay focused, you'll look back years from now and be grateful you started right here. Take care, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next video.